Good evening and welcome to the rainy fields of Lawrence, Kansas, here at Memorial Stadium in virtual Lawrence, Kansas. I should stop qualifying that it is indeed the virtual version of this real-life place every time. We're taking on the Oklahoma State Cowboys here as the Kansas Jayhawks here in Memorial Stadium at home, trying to get to a 7th win on the season. Oklahoma State trying to get to a 2nd win on the season. So two very different games, but both teams want to win. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma State has an in-conference win yet this year. And we want to get to 7 games, because if you remember back in 2002, there were not as many bowl games as there are today. Generally, if you get to, and even back then, there was kind of, if you got 6 wins, you would be bowl eligible, and you'd probably get into a bowl game. That was me pressing the wrong button there. Pressed the L button and just kind of destroyed the drive there. That's unfortunate. But yeah, if you got to 7 wins, you were pretty much guaranteed a bowl game back then. Now, 6 wins will get you in, pretty much guaranteed. Here's a punt. This is actually a very good punt. Again, I don't really show punts that often, unless it's quality punting, like it is right here. And that is some quality punting. Pinning them within their own 10, I believe within their own 5. That is what you like to see. Kansas, a school that produces pretty decent punters sometimes. And sometimes bad punters, who knows. Anyway, Oklahoma State gets the ball from their own 5-yard line, and their run game was actually okay on this day. This is their first, I believe, this is our first time seeing the Cowboys with the ball. I keep trying to say Sooners, but that's not the team that's playing. Their pass offense, however, was not great. I do say that the KU secondary is probably our strongest point, vastly different from the real Jayhawks this year, whose secondary has been kind of slacking. However, Oklahoma State's pass game is not that good anyway. They, as shown there by that overthrown of a pretty wide open receiver. I do show a punt here. I don't know why I show this one though, because that's just a fair catch. That is some quality return work though, because we get the ball within our own 50, which is good defensive work, and I guess speaks well to that last punt, because they really didn't get that far down the field. That was unquality. Whatever the opposite of quality is, was that punt. We go to the screen there. They snuffed that out right from the gates. Now, this part of the game, I actually want to just talk about the real Jayhawks, since I've already brought them up. Unfortunately, a loss to Rutgers, 27-14 in Piscataway, New Jersey. Sad day to be watching that game, but you know what? There were some positives that came out of it, not a ton of them. We did limit a team to the fewest points that any team has scored on us this entire year. If you remember, that's, I believe, 11 fewer than we allowed, or no, that might be like 14 fewer than we allowed South Dakota State. Far fewer than we allowed Memphis, and even though I think Rutgers is probably better than South Dakota State, so that does show some improvement on the defensive end, even though I know there was a lot of criticism of the defense this week. The offense looked okay, the passing game was moving, especially in the second half. I thought one of the issues that we had, and probably the reason the game ended up being a two-touchdown differential instead of the Jayhawks really being in it near the end, was that we were moving the ball via the pass. However, once they figured out the pass, we tried to go to the run, and it just didn't work. So if there is a way that we can kind of draw them off with the run and get big holes open for our pretty good running backs, Kinner and Mann, with a good pass game, then there's a decent shot that the offense could look pretty good this year. And I know the number of quote-unquote winnable games is going down for this team. I know there's somebody on Twitter was like, we have a 53% chance of going winless on the season, and that sucks, but whatever, that's just what happens sometimes. Oklahoma State did get a field goal on the last drive if you weren't paying attention. I tried to pitch there. If I had gotten the ball out of my quarterback's hands to the wide receiver, that probably would have been a first down. No matter though, because HB number 30 actually does get the first down here. They snuff out this option though. I typically try to wait until they have their hands on the quarterback to make the pitch. But the fact that my quarterback is kind of slow and I'm still running the option is really my downfall here. I should go for a more mobile quarterback in recruiting, I guess, if there's recruiting to be done. Catch made there by number 87, getting us the first down. Then on 1st and 10, we're going, trying to run the option, just trying to gain some yards. And we're doing an okay job. The offense is moving here for what that's worth. On the pitch there to halfback number 30, he gets us up 3rd and 1 now, and we're just trying to get into the end zone here before the half, and we do. Oklahoma State will get the ball back after the half to start the 3rd quarter off. but we get the touchdown there. So that's a good way to end off the first half. Oklahoma State would have one more shot at scoring any points here. I'm just showing you the last play here to show that, yes, indeed, it did fail. They did not score again. Anyway, for the on the topic of actual college football, I don't know really what to think of KU anymore, because I've been, if you watch closely enough, you do see some improvement, and that's what's happening. New head coach, first year for this head coach, pretty young team as well. So I think they're going to improve over the course of the season. I wonder how much improvement we'll see. The strong safety gets injured there. That's bad. He is probably the best player on the defensive end, as I have said a couple of times. Not that there aren't also good players that can't hold down the fort, but I'll give you an update on him in a little bit. Unfortunately I really don't foresee another win or any wins happening this season. If it is an 0-12 thing, that's unfortunate. You put more of that blame on last year's head coach for really not recruiting that well, and for just kind of putting us in a bad position. By the way, huge hole here for number 11, touchdown Kansas. It's 14-3, and we have an 11-point lead in the second half. Now you can kind of breathe. The safety will come back in the game, number 39, so that is good. It's just a migraine headache, not a concussion as the other head injury. And of course, in these older games, it was like, yeah, you guys got a concussion, but he should be good by the end of the game. It's really not that big of a deal, and now knowing all that we know now, the concussion is a much bigger deal than a 2-quarter thing. But hey, it was a long time ago. It was before we really did all this research on concussions and what the actual effect of it was. Another overthrow by the Oklahoma State quarterback. I should have done more counters. I could eventually just do, like, if enough stuff happens, like sack counter, fake punt counter, overthrown ball counter. Good play here, by the way. Broken tackle. I could have a broken tackle counter on that play. It was just one, though. We get an injury again, 2 injuries in the game. That's probably the most we've had in one game this whole season. This game does kind of remind me of the first game against Iowa State, where it was basically running game oriented, a couple of turnovers. Actually, I don't think there were any turnovers in this game now that I think about it, but there was some bad passes. The pass game just wasn't working, but where the pass game failed for both teams, to a certain extent, the run game worked. Great blocking there, even though that's totally a hold on the left side of your screen there. I don't know if anybody saw that. I did. But Oklahoma State gets the touchdown. It should be 10-14. However, they get called for, I believe, a false start here. Have to move back. And, in the rain with the wind, not an easy field goal anymore, and they miss it. So it is 14-9, which does make a difference there. Because now in the next one, if it's 10-14, they score a touchdown and get the extra point, we have to score a field goal to get back in with them. However, on the next drive, if they were to score, again, they would have to go for 2, and you could get possibly a lead where we could a made or missed field goal could decide the game at the end of the game. That's kind of happened, or that's kind of what happened with Texas and Cal a couple of weeks ago. It came down to the point where it was like they were about to tie, and they missed the extra point, which is just the saddest way to lose a game. I mean, that happened to the Saints back in like 2004. Great catch by the tight end for Oklahoma State. They are moving down the field, looking to come back and get back in this game. They could take the lead if they were to score again after our offense basically stalled there. And it's their run game again that's kind of that's given them the strength to continue here. Quarterback number 13 surveying. And he makes a good throw there, good catch there to set them up for a direct snap to the halfback. 1 broken tackle, 2 broken tackles, and he is into the end zone. So the Cowboys take the lead. However, as I said, if you don't want to be in a spot where a field goal would tie the game up, or where a field goal would win, you have to go for 2. We do stop them there going for 2. So it's only 15-14. Now all we got to do is get into field goal range and make a field goal. However, that would involve getting some positive yardage, which isn't what we were doing on that play. We do get a first down there with a great juke by number 11, so that's a first down. We got some good stuff going on there, and then again the fumbled pitch. I don't know how many times that's happened this whole season, but that has been something that has killed us the whole season. I waited too long to throw it to number 84 there. I should have gone a little earlier. He's had a bad problem with dropping passes, but he's a fullback, so I don't know what to expect. We get sacked here, and then this is probably my biggest mistake here, was I went for it on 4th and 17. Now, my mindset here was 4th and 17, 4th quarter. Generally, you want to go for it. We're down, But, you know, if there is a punt here, we could probably stop them, you know. They go to the pass here. That gets knocked down by number 12. He was probably the best defensive player for the Jayhawks in this game. There we get a stop by number 56 on the pass. And what do they do on third down? But they go back to the pass. They pass 3 times in a row. When you'd think they'd want to be, you know, running the ball, as they've done well the whole game, and keeping the clock running rather than stopping it. So they go for the field goal. Again, up 1 point, and they do get it. So it is 18-15 now. And of course, there's a dichotomy in that where, you know, we can't get a field goal to win now. We have to go for the touchdown. So that's a big deal. I mean, there is absolutely a big deal between, you know, if you've got 30 yards, throwing it and kicking it, you know, I mean, absolutely. I don't have to explain how that's a big deal. It's a good return by number 12 there. We get some yards by number 11 there for on 1st and 10. 2nd and 8. The quarterback actually scrambles. That was probably the first quarterback scramble of this game. I've been doing a better job of not just kind of running around blindly in the backfield with the quarterback doing this game. Great catch by number 2. He was probably the best offensive player overall this game. 4 catches, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. And then number 11 gets a huge hold. The offensive line was great for number 11 today. He had about 70 yards. Very good game for him. And he was just, I mean, he was making plays. That was probably the first really great game. I know one of the goals I had at the beginning of the season was him to get 1,000. He won't, but here we go to the end zone, and look at him drag that foot. Wide receiver number 1 for the touchdown to give the Kansas Jayhawks the lead, 21-18. Look at that. You know, I don't know how they really calculate that in this game. That's possession. That's 1 foot in to my eyes, and it was the game as well. So, hey, that's what you got to do. They get another overthrow there for Oklahoma State. That's just one of that's probably like the 5th or 6th on this game. That one knocked down, very clear, great play by the cornerback. EA agrees with me on the number 2 being the best player on the offensive side this game, and just overall this game. And here, 4th and 10, their last chance. They go. It finds the hands of a receiver, but it falls out after a great play by number 12, hitting him, attacking the receiver, and stopping the pass at the end of the pass. So it's 21-18, the end of the game. Great win, comeback victory. Even though it wasn't over a great opponent, you know, you can't sleep on anybody in conference. Everybody wants to win the game just as much as everybody else does. Oklahoma State's chances of winning a 2nd game of the season kind of dashed here. And so here we go into the last week of the season. We got Notre Dame at home next week, trying to get to 8-4, which would be incredible for, you know, a pretty talently, you know, not a great talented 2002 team, but hey, we have a 7 wins on the season, and we are actually predicted to finish. They say predicted to finish 4th in the Big 12 here and go to the Alamo Bowl and play against theoretically Illinois. I don't know if that'll happen. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.